on tonight, everybody? This is the Club of the Man, 1993. Tired and getting through this tough week of work. Today definitely was brutal. Again, I'm calling these my 5 days of hell because one person's short again until next Tuesday when they come back from vacation. So again, I am just exhausted, but I'm trucking through and editing my weddings. Just trying my best to also stay on top of my reviews here on YouTube. So we're live now, before I go to bed, to talk about AEW Dynamite from the September 9th, 2020 edition. Took place at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. This is the Fallout show from AEW All Out, and we are now on the road to AEW Full Gear, taking place in 2 months, on November 7th, 2020. Most likely again at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. The number one question going into this show is, tonight, how will AEW fall up from the setback they had from the show that they happened on Saturday at All Out? Again, obviously, there were some problems with All Out. Wasn't a horrible show. Definitely their weakest show. So how did they bounce back? How did they follow up? Well, I gotta say, a pretty darn good show. We had a good main event. We had a couple really good segments. A very good heartfelt segment from Matt Hardy. We wanted to hear what's going on with him. That kind of, made us feel better. And a nice surprise. A very nice surprise that came from one of my least anticipated segments of the night. And I loved it. And I'm sure most of you loved it as well. Man, I'm definitely so happy for this one person, specifically. And his debut tonight in AEW. And I am just like, let's go. And he said it all right straight to WWE. That they can go screw themselves after how they booked him. And after what Vince McMahon had told him about his gimmick that was actually getting over. But once again, Vince didn't create. But let's save that. Let's back up and save that for when we do get to that segment. So let's get rolling. We've got Tyler in a live chat saying he gives this show an A-. With the words right out of my mouth, because that's actually what I'm going to give this show as well. An A-. Again, saying that this show did bounce back after the rough and a little shady pay-per-view this past Saturday, All Out. But AEW is showing that, again, they take pride in their talents. They do the best to take care of them, and also they know the best talent they got. I'm the best, man. Okay, I'm getting a little far ahead of myself. Let's say that to when we get there. Anyways. So we open up this show with Tony Schiavone in the parking lot earlier as he ran into both Chris Jericho and MJF as they were entering the arena. Jericho says that MJF got robbed. Everyone saw him actually cheat by hitting a paradigm shift. But it's okay because he guarantees that MJF will be champion soon. MJF says that coming from a legend means the world to him. And the fact that he had to even touch that soulless ginger prick is criminal. But he promises him that one day he's going to regain the title. He basically tells that to Jericho. So again, they're getting along just fine, right? But the moment they both walk away, there's a split screen shot of the both of them. They're like losers underneath their breath of as like suckers. You really think they're gonna get along? Well, you can believe it at some point because they're both, come across as assholes as their characters are supposed to be. I still wouldn't mind seeing a match between these two someday. Maybe, who knows? Again, I know I've been ranting a lot about WWE lately having too many heels, I think, but that's a heel-on-heel feud that actually I think could work. Jericho and MJF, I still say we should do it. Of course, Jericho has a little bit of a different direction after coming out of this show, but we'll get to that in a second. We actually opened up with a solid opening match between Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus taking on Lucha Bros, Pentel, Zero M, and Ray Pentagon Jr. And Ray Phoenix. Again, thought it was a solid match. Continuing to build some type of thing with with them, the Butcher, the Blade, and Eddie Feet, Eddie, I mean, and Eddie Kingston. Um, Towards the end of the match, Jungle Boy hits an out of the stomp assisted package pile driver, um, which leads into a schoolboy roll up pin as Jurassic Express do beat the Lucha Bros. But afterwards, though, the Lucha Bros start arguing with each other, and Butch and the Blade hit the ring to keep the peace before Eddie Kingston comes out and gets a microphone and asks if they're done and tells them to stop. He says their little British friend isn't here. He's here, and he asks Pepper Parks where his wife is. He brings up the Casino Battle Royale, saying that 5 of them in Phoenix kicked Blade in the face, accident his ass. Where was Pentagon Jr.? They should be running this place, not fighting each other, and he demands they shake hands. The Lucha Bros get into another shoving match, but Eddie puts an arm around Pentagon Jr. and says he's his best friend, but Phoenix is his brother, and he should shake his hand. Phoenix offers a handshake. Kingston asks him nicely again, and they shake hands and they hug it out. And Eddie says he was never eliminated from the Battle Royale and tells us to look up the rules. Speaking of the Battle Royale, we have a segment with Jake the Snake Roberts staying with the new number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship, which was announced and that will take place in a month on August the 14th. October 14th. It was supposedly the anniversary show, even though the show debuted on October 2nd, so I'm not sure why they're calling that the anniversary show, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Roberts calls Moxley out and says he and Archer trash cars and like getting wet. Moxley's gonna sweat and piss himself when they get a hold of him. Archer says Moxley had nothing but time to prepare for the guys that came before him, but he has nothing but despair to look forward to when he steps in the ring with the Murder Hawk monster, which should be a good match when it happens. Good promo there. Like I said, I'm okay with Archer winning in this opportunity. Like I said, I just wish he would have actually done something else to keep him busy in between his loss to Cody Rhodes and his win in the Casino Battle Royale. Because he just didn't do much, I thought, after he lost to Cody, in my opinion. But we'll see what he does against Moxley. I look forward to that. The stuff with, of course, Eddie Kingston and the Lucha Bros was interesting. Also, I'll give them that. And then we have Matt Hardy come out, basically to give us an update about what's going on with him after that nasty fall. And this was a very, very great heartfelt promo. He thanks the crowd, says it's amazing to actually be in an arena with a live audience and reveal in their emotion. He thanks us watching at home and addresses his fall from All Out. It frightened a lot of people, and over the last couple days, the outpouring of love and support has been overwhelming. He's happy to say that after a battery of tests, he's expected to make a full recovery. He's a lucky man, and he points out his family, his wife, Rebby, and their newborn, and his 2 sons at home. He apologized for the match at All Out not being what it could have been, but he's glad his feud with Sammy is over before anyone got hurt even worse. But now it's time for him to get back to getting healthy, which obviously means that he's still concussed. And when he's cleared, he's going to come back and start winning matches and chase his first AEW championship. His journey ain't over, and a large part of that is down to us. And he thanks us again. So, very heartfelt promo, basically saying, hey guys, I'm okay, I'm sorry, Saturday was a disaster, but we're going to learn from it and move on. Great segment from Matt there, for sure. Orange Cassidy then defeats Angelico for a victory. Was what it was. But after the match, Santana and Ortiz attacked Orange Cassidy before Best Friends come out, and they call out Santana and Ortiz for destroying their mom's cars, and basically just all they've been doing, attack from behind. But next week they'll brawl in the parking lot brawl, pretty much. Whatever, cool with me. And then we got then we have another interesting segment here. We have Alex Marvez knocking on Young Buck's door to hope for an interview. The door opens, he starts talking again. The Bucks don't say anything except they lay him out with a super kick party. So it's like the Bucks are going full on heel, which is interesting to me. Oh boy. Let's talk about this. So here was, to me, the least anticipated segment of the night from me, to then becoming the best thing on this show. So Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, looking mighty sexy, I will say, you lucky man, comes out. Kip waves off Tony Schiavone and says he's going to take charge. And everybody wants to know who his best man is going to be at his wedding. He's not going to take us long. He goes, there's an introduction, and then out comes some dude named Puff. But then Sabian runs up to the stage and says he appreciates his subscription to his Twitch account, which, by the way, I forgot to mention in my All Out review. Kip Sabian has been taking shots, plugging his Twitch a lot ever since WWE had that big fiasco about them and third parties. So that was quite priceless. Him taking the shots at that. Of course, the shots are taking place later in this segment. But he tells the guy he appreciates him for the subscription, but he's not his best man. He's just the best. He goes to another introduction. This time out comes Brian Pillman Jr., but again is mistaken because Kip texts him that you're the best man with a comma in there, not the actual best man. And he doesn't even say they're not even friends, so he waves them off. So the third time's a charm. He does an introduction. The entrance music hits. And we're, of course, who is this man? What is he? And again, I love the way this was shot. It added more to the surprise. So they shoot from the behind when the person was making their entrance. Music's playing. I still can't tell who it is. I'm like, who the heck is this? All of a sudden, they say one word. And keep in mind, for the first half of the show, probably I was again working on a couple freelance projects, editing those, so I wasn't fully paying attention to Dynamite at first. This though made me set my work down and pop. The one word the song says is Miro. That's right, Miro, formerly of course in WWE, Rusev, makes his AEW debut. And he's the best. He's the best. He's the best man. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best man. The crowd popped and went nuts. Again, Kip Sabian's a heel. It's supposed to be like a heel thing. They rolled with it. They rolled with it immediately. Miro got in the ring, and he's like doing what he usually would do whenever they chant Rusev. They like absorbing the crowd, getting excited, getting all pumped up and everything. And he loved it. You can tell that he loved this. He had a big smile on his face. He was happy. I'm just like, good for you, man. Just good for you. And the first thing he says is, he says, what's that? Basically, everybody was like, what should we chant? We can't chant Rusev Day anymore. So they start chanting Miro Day. Also gotta mention, he has blonde hair now. So he gets on the microphone. And he says, 10 years in the same house, under the same glass ceiling, what had an imaginary brass ring. And he had this bagel, so he's like, yeah, I want to grab that. And then he goes, we can take that brass ring and shove it up your ass. I'm like, damn, that's straight towards you, Vince McMahon. Mr. Rusev, do you realize that this whole Rusev Day stuff, they're just making fun of you. Oh, you only sold out on Rusev Day merchandise because there was low stock. Again, what a corporate bully, as I always say about Vince McMahon. Full of his ego and just a corporate bully. Telling this man who got over on his own with a simple little gimmick that I even wasn't a big fan of at first. Again, I was not behind Rusev Day at all. I just thought it was lousy because at the time he had just gotten done getting squashed by Randy Orton at SummerSlam, which I brutally hated. But then they got that gimmick over, got me to care about it, they tried to sabotage it. Because Vince didn't create it, Vince didn't like it. So what does he do? He tells them that, they're making fun of you. I mean, your merchandise only sold out because we were low stock. Like, give me a break. Look at how happy this man was tonight. The promo he cut, he was just natural and himself. He says the all elite recognizes the elite. Yes, he didn't pick, and he loves Kip Sabian, and he'll definitely be his best man. but you didn't pick him to be it because he's the best man. He is the best man. Tune into his Twitch, and you'll see he's the best gamer. And AEW, you'll see him take guys out night after night. His name is Miro, and he is all elite. And again, he was smiling, he was just like pumping in the crowd and whatnot. Miro Day, he's the best, he's the best, he's the best man. Loved it. Loved it. I didn't know if Miro was going to go back to wrestling. He had said some interviews he may be done. He wasn't sure if he wanted to go back. I listened to his interview with Ryback where we first heard the stuff about, again, Vince telling him that people are making fun of him with the Rusev Day gimmick. And again, now, he was not really selling much of merchandise at all. There was, again, the saying he had low stock. That's why they're running out, which, again, complete bullshit. Again, the dumbest excuses he has. Again, after all he'd been saying he was hurt and everything, I didn't think he was going to come back. Not this soon, at least. But the fact that he is in AEW, I'm like, go for it. He's going to make it work. He is going to be huge. Look what happened with Jericho. Moxley, Brody Lee, of course, as well. So many other talents who let WWE come to AEW, and they're just already, happen overnight. Let them be them. Let them get more hands on their own creativity. You got tons of stars. Oh, of course, Cody Rhodes as well. But yes, I'm very excited to see what Miro does in AEW. We have a sit-down interview with Hangman Adam Page, who says he's feeling good. Tony asks him if he can the stock answer. Page says they had fans at All Out, not many, and you could have heard them, but he didn't. For 30 minutes, he didn't hear anyone make a sound. It's like everyone was holding their breath like they knew it was inevitable, which of course it was more so because, again, they were just out of the show because after what happened with the Broken Rules match, and then it was hot also as well. It was inevitable, though, that they'd lose their tag titles and fall apart. But he doesn't think it was inevitable. FTR shouldn't have had that title shot in the first place. Kenny was right. The Young Bucks should have won the gauntlet, and it's his fault that he's lost two of his best friends, Matt and Nick Jackson. Stupid enough to think that the FTR were like him because they look like him and act like him. He's like everyone else, full of blood and bones, but he feels like he's actually full of poison. This is probably his toughest test, but he's going to get through it. Obviously, he didn't realize there was problems with him and, Kenny Omega, which we'll hear more from afterwards. We had a solid tag match from the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and Jake Hager taking on Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in a no disqualification match. Good match. Inner Circle gets a win with a head and arm triangle slam from Jake Hager onto Sonny Kiss. Of course, Retribution will pay back on Sony for eliminating Jake Hager in the Casino Battle Royale on Saturday. Afterwards, so Jericho talks on the microphone and says the Inner Circle had a terrible night of losses at All Out. Sammy's out hurt, but now it's the future, and him and Hager are going to commit to running up victories in the tag team division to come forward the AEW World Tag Titles. Something fresh to do, why not? MJF then flipping out and then fires everyone because obviously his campaign didn't work, he basically fires everyone except for Wardlow. MJF though gets on him for costing him the title, calling him an illiterate oaf before laughing and asking if they were a problem. Because last he checked, Tony Khan doesn't sign his checks. MJF does. Anyone in their right mind would have fired him after Saturday, but MJF is the only friend he's got and the only one he sees potential in, so he better get his act together at least and put his whole family out on the street. World's like they don't have a problem. MJF says now is a time for playing to get back on top where they belong. So I guess MJF is accepting this loss, even though once again I'm surprised he's not going after Moxley for, again, using the paradigm shift when the referee wasn't looking. Who knows? Again, I kind of don't like these abrupt ends of feuds. It's like, again, the feud with MJF and Cody Rhodes. That's not really, done anything. Ever since their match at at Revolution. Again, I still think they should have had something a little bit more continue to go forward, I thought. Anyways, um, moving on. We'll first check the live chat real quick, actually. Tyler says, when is Jericho getting his rematch? I don't know. I'm not sure why he still hasn't gone for that. MJF was not his time to be world champion. Vince is a bully, like all times, and he's a liar. Yes, that is correct. He definitely is. We have a segment with Jon Moxley, who says that Archer earned his title shot at All Out. Says himself, son of a bitch, this isn't getting any easier. But that's just how it should be. You can campaign for it or legitimate for it. The only way to be AEW World Champion is to crawl through a mountain of crap and come out the other side. Look at the numbers. I think he's going into a wood chipper against Archer, but it's not about that. It's about what he feels in his heart, his soul, and deep down in his guts. And he knows he's unstoppable. Lance is just a man. And when their paths cross, all you have to ask yourself is, do you really want to be up against Jon Moxley? Which we'll have to wait and see again. October 14th is going to be that match. FTR and Tully Blanchard have this segment in the ring where they're celebrating themselves winning the tag champions, being the greatest tag team in the world. They then talk up their victory. Cash puts the tag team division over as the deepest and best in the world, points them out at ringside. They might be undefeated in AEW, but they've had to fight for each of these victories. It was a dream to watch SCU when they grew up watching it. Imagine if they were still in their prime. This was 20 years ago. Private Party don't have much to say about it. And Harwood takes over and says that they're locker room leaders and the top guys. He calls Billy Gunn out as a legend. But he and his snot-nosed kid aren't jumping to the front of the line. They also say they have a match, a non-title match with Jurassic Express next week, but it ain't for the title. They'll have to earn that shot against them. They'll never let a comedy gimmick run their division and offer a toast to the dumbass dinosaur. Again, this segment started off good, but it got a little bit hokey, I thought, which leads to a brawl as FTR get away and the various tag teams divide their celebratory cake amongst themselves. Like I said, it was a good segment up until things got a little bit hokey. They even dumped water on FTR. Wasn't the hugest fan of that, but it is what it is. Ricky Starks came out to Darby Allin's theme music and took another shot at him. Obviously, we're going to be seeing a match between them at some point. Nyla Rose defeated Tay Conchi. I felt bad for Conchi, but she still looked great tonight. I thought she was in the Dark Order, though, so I was a little confused with this match. But after Nyla Rose won, again, I'm starting to rush through, but I'm getting tired. Vicky Guerrero comes out and asks to be excused. She says that the Vicious Vixens are here to make a statement, and they're not going anywhere, which leads to them attacking Conchi, but Shida makes a save with a kendo stick, so I think they're teasing a rematch between Shida and Nyla Rose. Works for me. We were told then that the Young Bucks are fined $5,000 each for attacking the interviewer Alex Marvez, which is interesting. Kenny Omega was in an interview with Jim Ross, kind of like how Hangman Adam Page was interviewed earlier. Kenny says these things happen, and when you've done this for 20 years at the highest level, winning and losing belts is all part of the game. He agreed that him and Hangman did have chemistry. That held them together in the ring, and that's why he thought this is what he was meant to do in AEW. He had expectations of being a single star to put upon him to be the ace of the company, but he lost his way. And it wasn't until he found Hangman that he found the purpose again in AEW. And they had such a deep tag team division, and it gets to the level they said they had to dig deep to learn about themselves. Learn about Hangman Adam Page, he doesn't particularly like. They had a good run, but Hangman had better make other plans. He's thinking about trying to reconcile, but he's given this a year. Gave a year of his life to the tag team division, but now it's ready for him to be a single star again. So again, that heel turn is coming, I think. We're going to get a singles match at some point, maybe have full gear between Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Next week, I think next week's the show is going to be airing on Thursday because of the basketball playoffs, so they hype up that show. Then we have the main event, Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes and Brody Lee for a TNT Championship. I thought it was a good physical match between these two. Brody Lee gets the win with a discus lariat, and afterwards they bring out QT Marshall over Stu Grayson's shoulders. Brody Lee was too busy arguing with Colt Cabana, doesn't want to see him, but they basically beat down the Rhodes family, and that's how the show went off the air. Again, I kind of picked it up there a little towards the end, but again, I got sleepy. Yeah. So that's the show. Giving it an A minus. 17 votes. What grade would you give AEW this week? 76.5% said A, 5.9 says B, 11.8 says C, 5.9 says D or lower. A minus for me, guys. That's going to do it for this live review, guys. Again, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I'll see you guys on Friday for my SmackDown review. What are your thoughts on AEW Dynamite tonight? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts also on Miro making his AEW debut? That was awesome. Definitely the best part of my show. But leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe or comment on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DeMayoRonnie3. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I will see you all later. Have a good night. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Peace out, everybody.